Hello everybody, I hope you all are doing good out there. We've got a new knife to look at. This is a knife that I've wanted for quite some while. I've been looking at it for about 4 years and I kept assuming that it would come into one of my local dealers and I could pick one out. But in 4 years I've never seen it come into my local dealer. Now this pattern will come into the local dealer, but not in the handle and the steel that I wanted. This is one of Case's cheaper knives that you can buy, but it's a really cool knife, and it's a really good knife. This is another one of them knives that, in my opinion, if you are a knife guy and you like knives, you got to have one of these in your collection. It's so simple, yet it's a little bit tacky, yet it's extremely practical, and it's affordable. It's a wonderful knife, so let's get into it without any more talking. This is a regular Case box. Notice, our box today is a lot bigger. That narrows it down to what it could be. Most of Case's knives come in this box, even the full-size trapper. That means that we've got an extremely large knife we are going to be looking at today. More than that, you'll notice it says carbon, CS steel. That's going to narrow down the search even more because Case doesn't make a lot of their large knives in carbon steel. Most of their larger knives are collector editions. So as far as I'm aware, this narrows us down to probably about 2 patterns. This is either a folding hunter or it is an Sodbuster. Now, you'll notice that this is not a folding hunter. This right here is a Sodbuster. You can tell that because this box isn't fat enough for the sheath that comes with the folding hunter to fit into it. So this right here is a Case Sodbuster. Now you'll remember from my other videos that I do have a black Sodbuster that I really like. But this isn't a black Sodbuster. This is the special yellow synthetic Sodbuster. The 3138 pattern with a carbon steel blade. Notice there the birth date, 9/23 of 24. Also, as many Case boxes as I have opened and looked at, not till a while back did I actually read that circle there. Twice tested, never bested. So that's quite interesting. So we won't take the knife out of this box because I already took it out of the box. And here it is. When I got it, I had to open it up, take a look at it. But this is your Case 38 pattern Sodbuster. The 37 pattern Sodbuster looks identical for the most part, but it is a smaller knife. This one is 4 5/8 inches closed. And then your cutting edge is around 3 1/8 of an inch. The sharpened edge is around 3 1/8 of an inch. So he's a large knife. As far as I'm aware, now I'm talking about modern Sodbusters. This don't apply to the older ones. But if it's a Sodbuster made after the year 1991, 1992 or so, between the big and little Sodbuster, this is the Sodbuster Junior right here. If you're just looking at a picture and you're not told what pattern number, if you're trying to figure out which one is which from a picture, look for the location of the nail nick. The Junior's nail nick is a lot closer to the bottom of the knife, where the full-size Sodbuster is a lot closer to the middle. This does not apply to vintage Sodbusters. The vintage full-size Sodbusters had their nail nick closer to where the Junior does. I've had the Juniors for a long time, the yellow ones. I've been through 3 of them. I traded them off to other friends and come around with another one. But this one does have the new carbon steel in it. And so does this Sodbuster right here. First thing I want to say, of course, for those of you who don't know much about full-size Sodbuster, you're going to have a single back spring. And it is a single-bladed knife. This one's leaning toward the show side liner, but it's not touching, so that's fine with me. I prefer it to be leaning toward me rather than away from me. That way when I grab it and apply pressure, whether I'm using the nail nick or just pinching it, that way I won't be scraping the back liner, because that is extremely easy to do. But nevertheless, this is a work knife. This is not a show knife. This knife is made to use, and that's what I intend to do with it. A Sodbuster like this with these Delrin handles, in my mind, the more you use it, the more character it gets, and the more character it gets, the better it is. Let's get the blade out here. It's got good snap. Snaps right into place. Now, I've still got some oil on this where I put some oil in it. But this is the sharpest case knife I've ever got out of the box, I do believe. I went ahead and put my bevel on it just 'cause I know how to sharpen and I like to have my bevel on them. How about y'all out there? Do you all feel the same way? Do you always want to have your bevel on the knife? Or are you fine with just using a factory edge? I like to have my own bevel on it for some reason. This does have a stone-washed finish on this blade instead of highly polished. And the reason is because this is going to take a patina super quick. See, it's a beautiful looking blade right there. I've got it all sharpened up. I did leave a coarser edge on here because I'm going to use this as a work knife. I've got it sharp. Let me get a piece of paper and I'll show you how sharp we got it. I have bad eyesight and I seem to always fail doing good paper tests on the camera just because looking through the phone, I tend to not line the knife up right. I'm extremely nearsighted in one eye and extremely farsighted in the other eye. Nevertheless, you can see I've got it sharp and it'll shave without any problem at all. I always sharpen them till I can shave with them. There's no blade play. It's tight as it can be. Everything is super good and super straight. Your cutlery rivet is in the handle good. Feels good in the hand. That's one of the most useful and practical blade shapes you're ever going to find. It's a great EDC blade. One thing I do want to touch on, let me show you the closing snap. It's got good closing snap. One thing I do want to touch on this knife that is quite interesting is Case has varied the way that they sand their handles. They have a process they call hefting, in which they take the knife and they sand it down before they finish it. And they vary over the years. And this is my black Sodbuster, and this one is a 2023, but it has a 2022 blade in it. We'll talk about that one day, but it is a 2023. I've got the box. Now, if you look at the way that they sanded this one, they went flat across the knife, they give a nice curve, and they went flat down this other side. See how that kind of looks? Well, they did this yellow one a little differently. They have a bevel right here. Then you got your flat edge. Then you have another bevel. Then you have your back of your knife. Then you have another bevel. Then you have your flat edge. Then you have another bevel. And you can even see a bevel here on the end of the knife. Now, I've seen new black ones, like this one, black synthetic. I've seen new ones of these done like this. I like this. This feels maybe a little better in the hand, I believe. Just when I'm holding it there, I think it feels a little better in the hand. It feels good. Now, this black one here still feels good in the hand, but it has a different feel to it. This one is a little thicker, a little meatier, and I think it feels maybe just a little better in the hand. I'm not sure. There is a considerable difference in the thickness of these two knives. Can you see the difference there? Let me line them up like this. There you go. You can see that, to the best of my ability, lining them up, the yellow one is slightly thicker. And that's one thing you're getting with a case knife. You're getting a handmade knife to a large degree. They're using machinery, but there's a lot of handwork. So they're all going to be different and they're all going to be unique. Now, the more that this knife is used, the more that it cuts, the more times it's dropped, the more times that it gets muddy and dirty and greasy, it's going to get character marks all over it. And this blade is going to patina, get character marks all over it. And every mark and every spot it gets on it, it'll be cooler than it was when it was new. And that's something beautiful about these knives. Let's do a quick size comparison. Again, the most obvious comparison is going to be that right there is the full-size Sodbuster. This right here is the Sodbuster Junior. There is plenty of room for both of them in somebody's collection or in their knife rotation. They're very different. You can see I've got a patina on this Sodbuster. I did that by cooking some Spam. But let's bring out some other knives here for comparison. We'll bring out the large folding hunter. This is the 65 pattern from Case. You can see it's a lot larger than the Sodbuster. Another one we will bring out to compare would be the Trapper. The classic Trapper, as you can see, is considerably smaller than the Sodbuster. I like the Trapper too. But yeah, it's considerably smaller. Plus, it's going to be a two-bladed knife. And it's going to run, this yellow one is going to run at least $15 more than this Sodbuster. What's some other interesting knives to throw out there and compare it to? Well, I guess we could throw out the Peanut. Why not? The Peanut's the knife that we are carrying as a challenge right now on the channel. But you can see here that they're not really comparable. The Peanut is a lot smaller knife, but it is an interesting comparison. To throw out a few other popular knives, here's a mini Trapper. Here's an 18 pattern Stockman. I'm lining up the tang with the sharpened edges to the best of my ability. And then lastly, we'll throw out a little tiny toothpick. So you can see this Sodbuster is a large knife. It's by far larger than all these others. And this Sodbuster is a work knife by its very definition. It's not as much a collector knife as it is a work knife, and Case made it as such. You got your good carbon steel, you've got that durable Delrin handle. This handle might get a crack between these pins and the brass liner. They do sometimes, but that's all that's going to happen to it. That's all that's going to happen to it. This Delrin is tough as it can be. And like I say, it's kind of funny because every time I look at it, it reminds me of a banana more than anything else. It just screams banana to me. Now, it is not probably as EDC friendly as the smaller Sodbuster Jr. is, just because of its size. A lot of people don't want a 4-inch knife in their pocket bouncing around, especially a 4 5/8 inch knife. A lot of people think the Trapper is a pretty large knife, and it is. But if you think the Trapper is a large knife, you're going to think that the Sodbuster is huge, and it will probably be too big for you. But it sure is a cool work knife and a good carry knife. Now, I do need to weigh it, because even though the knife is relatively large, it's not very heavy. Let me get this zeroed out here. 3.35. Yep, 3.35. That is extremely light for such a large knife. The Pocket Hunter, not the Pocket Hunter, the Folding Hunter. You know, it's a lot heavier knife. It's got 2 blades and it's built heavier. But even the Trapper is 3.65 compared to the Sodbuster at 3.35. The Sodbuster Jr. comes in right under it at 2.15. And I haven't tested this yet. Let's do the black one versus the yellow. Because this black one is thinner, I think it's going to weigh less. Let's check it. This one is 3.35, the yellow one is. The black one is 3.25. So yeah, it's considerably lighter, just because of the way that it's been hefted. And like I said, I am seeing these black synthetics who are done like this one is, hefted in this way. So again, the Sodbuster coming in at 3.35, even for this yellow one, that's a lightweight knife. It's lighter than the Trapper. You're getting a lot of knife that's really lightweight. Now, I do want to say that the way that it is hefted with the corners and such is closer to Case's older way of doing it. This is a 93 Case Sodbuster. And it's more similar to this yellow one in the way that they rounded the knife off and went around the edges. They're both great knives. I guess the last thing I'll say before ending out this review, don't want it to go too long, is that if you get one of these black synthetics, you're going to get this etch on the blade, stainless Sodbuster. And it's going to be an as-ground finish, you know, where you can see the machine marks. Because again, it's a work knife. But this one right here with the carbon steel is going to just have a stone washed finish, and it's not going to have an edge. And the reason is because as soon as you use this knife, the patina is going to start to develop. And so I'm going to use this knife, and it's going to take on a lot of character over the years. It's going to be one of my hard use knives, and I believe it's going to be one of my favorite knives. And so we're going to end out this video by cutting our apple with it. I always like to eat an apple with my slip joint. And as soon as you cut into this, you'll start getting your good patina on that blade. This is the first thing I've ever cut with this knife besides some arm hair when I was sharpening it up. And this patina right here will start to develop, and this blade will start to shine. But that's a good work knife right there. And anybody out there who's looking for a work knife that is capable, affordable, American made, practical, and looks like a banana, this is the knife for you. Y'all have a good day and keep your knives sharp.